on the agenda is Joe Provencha, County Clerk.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning, Joe.
If you would grant me the indulgence, I'd like to have this meeting for my December reports. Next meeting in February, I'll have a review of all of 2016 and January of 17. We're finishing up our annual reports for 16. We're almost finished with them. And as you can see through December, it was a healthy month. Overall, we've a little shy in bringing in the revenue that you requested. We're 5,000 short, but I think we're going to make that up with unexpended monies for our budget. DMV did a little better than last year. We did very, very well with both transfer tax and mortgage tax this year. And as you can imagine, the SAFE Act is keeping us very busy with phone calls and people coming in, which is good. I will be this Sunday and Monday in Albany for County Clerk Legislative meeting, and Friday evening I will be at the Magistrates meeting giving a presentation on civil and criminal appeals. And I believe we're working on Minerva's bicentennial for March.
Joe. More.
Joe, could you just enlighten at least myself on the process for re-registering for our handgun permits? Is that something that we have to be, are they going to get to us, or do we have to get an application from you, or how does that work?
Sometime in December, they announced that they were going to be sending letters out, and they sent out letters in waves and are still sending letters out in waves. So by hook or by crook, I don't know how they did it. Z's are getting notified, and some A's, and so you will be getting notified by letter. And once you get the letter, then you can go online and register yourself or recertify yourself, or there are documents both at my office, and I will be getting around to your town halls to give them out as well as State Troopers Barracks, to register right on paper and send it in by mail. And the funny part was they said you have to have it registered by January, but January of 18. So you've got a year from the time you receive it till 18.
Thank you.
Anything further, Joe?
No.
Any questions for Joe? Mr. Monty.
Yeah, Joe, I received my letter last week, Ron, last Friday, actually, for re-registering. My question is, for recertifying, it's not going to change the qualifications of my certification, right? Whereas right now I'm...
Are you carried and concealed?
Concealed carry.
No, we're not changing it. That doesn't change.
Okay. That was my concern. I went to the website. I haven't done it. It looked fairly simple to do.
Yes.
I guess my only question is, my handguns that are on my permit are already registered, yet I have to re-register them?
Yes.
Again, the same handguns that are already registered.
We're getting many people coming in that are saying, I've been looking at my license and I really got rid of that 5 years ago. So it's just reaffirming the weapons you have on your permit you still have in your possession.
Okay, thank you.
Further to Joe? If not, thank you.
Thank you.
Lori, the auditor's office.
Hello. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Lori DeZoya. I'm the Deputy Auditor. It's a busy time of year for us. Brenda's in the office catching up now. She sent out the report. We're doing year-end reporting stuff. 1099 edit reports went to Lanita so that those can be sent out. Those were upped on the schedule this year for a deadline of January 31st that we have to file. So we've been busy getting that done. Letters went out to the attorneys asking them to file their 16 claims by the end of this month so we can get them in the proper calendar year. We continue to do our scanning of our vouchers. That's going really well. Lisa's been working with us on tweaking our program that she wrote us for indexing on those. You have any questions?
Any questions? See on the assigned council, of course, this isn't the year, so there's still 2016?
We are open for a 13th county period until sometime in March. So that number will significantly rise. Last year, I think that's where you get the bulk of it, in that 13th period.
I'm not certain where we are, Randy, maybe you know, in regards to revamping the assigned council, the charges and so on and so forth.
It was in the state of the state press, but I don't know.
Dan Manning had talked about.
Oh, as far, yeah. It didn't go anywhere that I'm aware of. It's a good question for Dan Manning.
Any questions for Lori? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Treasurer's Office, Mr. Essex.
First of all, I apologize for not getting my agenda out to you until Friday. I had it all scanned Monday and ready to go. I'll just blame it on old age. I just forgot to send it out to you all to Friday, so I have no excuse other than just getting a little old and forgetting things. There's not a lot on it. There's the sales tax, the sales tax, room tax. Sales tax was good through the end of the year. If you look at our check even through the end of December, we get 3 checks, of course, in December when they settle up a lot for the second half of the year. We were over $400,000 more last year in December than we were the year before. And for the year, strictly in cash, what we received, we were about $881,000 more. So sales tax looks good. January, I did get in some sales tax that we were down a little bit in January, but that's just a truing up of when they end the quarter. They settle up what was maybe overestimated. It was down about $40,000, so we were still ahead. Starting out the year, we're down a little bit, but that's just in cash. As far as the budget, I think we're pretty much on target to get where we need to be for the budget for 16 to fulfill that. Occupancy tax, again, continues to go up each month, and obviously the reason for that is we are still signing up people from the vacation rentals as more and more people become aware of it, and some people have just kind of held off because they want to be an annual filer. They only rented for a little while, and they just didn't bother to register until they were ready to pay. Even though the annual filers don't have to pay until March, because it runs from February through March, many of them choose to do it through the calendar year just to get it cleared off for them, which is fine with us. We don't have an issue with it. In December, we took in $42,000 more than we did last year, and for the year, we ended up, we have one more month actually to consider in the calendar year, and that's what we receive in January, which will actually be December occupancies. But so far in the 11 months of the year that we've gone through, we've taken in $225,871 more. And as I said before, a good share of that was in the vacation rentals. I know that last month when we were $183,000, it was about $135,000 of it was in vacation rentals. So we're probably somewhere in the neighborhood of a couple $100,000 extra in vacation rentals. We will be for the year. And I just think we'll continue to get better as more and more people sign up. I just had a registration this morning. A guy called me, wants to register. Didn't realize he needed to, but he's willing to pay for all that he took in 16. He just needs to get on board with it. Any questions on any of that?
Sales tax or occupancy tax?
I sent you my expenses and revenues that we had in for the year to date. Also, usually our cash flow. And the last thing that I did want to speak with you, and this isn't a real darning issue with me, but it came up during the auction. Someone asked me about it, so I thought maybe I would discuss it with the Finance Committee to start. At the auctions, we charge 1.5% for an advertising fee to the people who buy at the auction. But we've never done that with the people who buy ahead of the auction. So they get a little bit of a break, so if the former owner comes in and buys it, After we put out the brochure and everything, they have up until 2 weeks before the auction. They don't have to pay that 1.5%. We lost probably $20,000, $25,000 in revenue that we could have taken in if we had charged them the same as we charged the people at the auction. So to kind of level the playing field, I had some questions about why don't we charge them, and I thought I would bring it up, see how the board feels about adding that as a terms and conditions of doing that for people, because the advertising actually starts the day we foreclose on it, and they start developing the brochure, so it's in the brochure, even though we end up pulling it out.
It wouldn't be the same, it's 1.5% of what you owe in taxes.
1.5% whatever they buy it back from, which is the same as what they pay at the auction, 1.5% of what they buy it for.
Well,
Sometimes it's different.
auction, that was a huge difference
It would've-
between what was owed in taxes.
Well, except you look at that property in your town
Right.
that we sold back to the guy for a couple $100,000. That was a huge drop. I mean, sometimes you're going to have a benefit from that, sometimes you're not.
But my point is, at the auction,
Yes.
most of these properties in this last auction
Sold for under what?
sold for substantially less than what we're owed in taxes. So now we're going to tack on another penalty to someone who's trying to come up with the money to pay the taxes, so they don't lose it in an auction, but yet they're going to pay 1.5% on the total amount that they owe, plus all the other re-levies and everything.
I think what you're going to see though, just as we get closer to foreclosing on these within a couple of years, you're going to see there's going to be a lot less taxes owed on them and a lot more money spent at the auction. So I think it's going to kind of level out. Maybe we want to hold off until we get to that point, but I think when we get to the point where we're foreclosing after 2 years and we're not charging them 5 or 6 years worth of taxes, we're probably going to bring as much at the auction as we are selling it back to someone. So I think at that point it'll probably level out. Maybe it's a little unequal right now, but in the future it might work. And if you want to hold off until after we clear this up, maybe we'll look at that again after we get cleared up and start doing them on a 2-year basis. But I wanted to bring it up because it was asked of me at the auction why we don't charge them. So.
Roby? John?
We can change it and make it 1.5% of the back taxes as the advertising.
Well, that's what it basically would be if they bought it ahead of time. The advertising, the 1.5% is what we sell it at the auction,
You're saying
not the back taxes.
Do it across the board. If you buy it at the auction, you pay 1.5% of the back taxes
Of the back
as the advertising fee.
We can do that, or like I said, we can put this on hold and revisit it when we start getting 2-year foreclosure, because I think we'll be a lot closer to it. I just wanted to bring it up now so we can get it out on the table and talk about it.
Maybe a flat fee for everything.
Well, yeah, it's hard to figure what it would be. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you'd come up with a flat fee, but it might be something we want to think a little more about before we go ahead and act on it. I just want, as I said, I wanted to bring it up because it was mentioned to me where we're at with it.
Mr. Tyler?
Mike, what do other counties do with that? Do they,
Most counties charge 1.5% of the advertising fee. I don't know what they do with properties they sell before the auction. I probably could survey them and find out, send out a survey and see what they do with them. That's a good question, I don't know. There are many counties, obviously, that don't sell back to their prior owners, so we don't have that issue. And once they foreclose, they don't allow the prior owners to buy it back. It's about, I would say 50-50, maybe a few more counties allow it than don't, but there are a number of counties that don't allow people to come in after we foreclose and buy it back, so like we do. They just say, once you go to foreclosure, that's it. But I could check on that and see what other counties do as far as selling them back to owners beforehand with the advertising piece.
Okay, any questions from,
I'll do a little more research on it and get back to you.
any questions? No, thank you.
Okay.
Dan?
I just have a couple of resolutions that Alan Hips needs from the Housing Assistance Program, and they are essentially, we held the public hearings on these grants that were awarded to them, and we need authorization for me to sign those. So the first one would be a resolution authorizing the 2016 Community Block Grant in the amount of $400,000.
Someone move that? Mr. Moore? Is there a second? Mr. Gillen? Discussion? I Are they 400,000? I thought there was 600.
One is 400, one is 300,000, so it's 700,000 total.
All in favor? Aye. All carried.
So the second one is the same idea. It's a $300,000 amount, and it's, so we need authorization for me to execute that one as well.
Moved by Mr. Gillen, second. Mr. Moore, discussion. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, carried. While we're on that subject, I think probably all the supervisors received a letter from Senator Little regarding up to $100,000 program to replace mobile homes that are dilapidated and no longer livable and so on. I'm assuming everybody did, but if I talked to Jim Monty about it, but it has to be a not-for-profit or a government agency that oversees this. Did you get a chance, Jim, to talk to your board at all, or?
Alan was out, I'm gonna stop over, he's been sick for the last 2 weeks, I'm gonna stop over afterwards to see if they'd be willing to...
Okay, for the county.
To facilitate it for us.
Thank you. Mr. Tyler?
On those same lines, I talked to Alan about it, and he's not sure, at the time I spoke to him, he wasn't sure the amount that each county was going to get. It was going to be one per town, or just one or two for the county, whole county, or what was going to happen with that?
I think it's based on a lot of different things. I don't think there was any set amount. It was up to $100,000, depending on the circumstances of each individual case. That's the way I pulled it up online. That's the way I could be wrong on that. Okay, so ACAP is going to look into that.
That's essentially all.
Any questions for county manager? If not, Charlie Lewis, real property. Good morning.
Good morning. I wanted to let you know that we processed quite a few more deeds this year than last year. We were up 116 deeds, which is 93%, and in the report that I gave you, you can see that every quarter was up last year in deeds processed. As far as maps go, subdivisions, surveys, things like that, we were one less map than the year before. There was some discussion at the public safety meeting about pictometry, and I just wanted to let you know that your support is greatly appreciated for another flyover for the assessment community, because they can use that as one of the required items for the cyclical reassessment plan that most of your towns are in. It's a great asset tool for them. After the public safety meeting, I did a report that I included showing how many people are using pictometry. We have 106 users. 81 users logged in 5,067 times last year. 85,097 images were viewed, and there were 8,607 searches on that. I have reached out to the 25 users that did not log in last year, and I found that some of those had retired, and their person that took over for them did not realize that they had the ability to use pictometry, so I've set them up with some accounts. There's still some people that I haven't been able to find any contact information from, so I'll be needing some help. You might recognize some of the names, people that aren't logging in. If you have a building code officer and you don't see their name on this list, that they're not using pictometry, if you could have them get a hold of me, I can set them up with an account if they don't have one. Some of the people that I did get a hold of had forgotten their password and didn't know who to reach out to get their password either reset or someone to just tell them what it was. So as you can see, it does get a great deal of use, and a new flyover certainly would be beneficial for us.
We're going to start charging. We're going to start charging.
you don't. That's why I start charging.
No, there is no charge to any of the towns for your users.
I use it a lot, it's a great tool, that's for sure.
It is, to be able to measure the building, especially for the assessment community. If you're not allowed on a property, you still have to collect that inventory somehow, and that's how our assessors and our data collectors in our office are doing it, is with the pictometry tools.
So the flyover is going to be when, March? Dan, you said before the leave?
Well, if we get it approved this month, and we did get a quote from them, it was $279,000, so that'll be ready for Ways and Means. If it's approved, then I think we can get a March flyover.
It also has a new feature from the last time that they flew pictometry here, and that's called Change Finder. And what that does is this time when it's flown, there'll be building footprints that are collected and that you can see. And then the next time it's flown, it'll compare those footprints that are flown next year to when it's flown again, and it'll point right out to us all the new construction. What a great tool.
Any questions on pictometry?
I also sent you for the property tax relief credit, which is the new program for taxes. I found a chart that you can refer to, kind of gives you a visual of how this is going to work going forward. We've talked about it before. In 2016, anyone who's currently carrying a STAR exemption should receive a check for $185. But in 2017, as you can see from the chart, it starts being a percentage-based check that you'll receive. So whatever income bracket you fit into is the amount that you'll receive. And that is a percentage of the STAR exemption itself, what the amount that is worth.
Is there any, I read an article, I think it was the Times Union yesterday or the day before, that, of course, they're being bombarded statewide here.
With phone calls, yes.
Phone calls and then the, 45-minute to an hour waits.
The average wait time is 71 minutes now.
I've dealt with a lot of issues, but I've had as many phone calls on this one as I've had on a lot of others.
Right.
So, I know the legislative committee is meeting next, I believe, because I think that's something that should be put back into the hands of the local assessors and taken away. The state can't handle it.
Well, I was just approached by someone who just barely received their STAR. They registered for the STAR exemption online, and they just barely received their check that they were supposed to receive before the end of the interest-free penalty period for paying your school. September 30th was the promise that they would receive those checks. I can tell you that the assessment community has always felt that STAR is a New York State exemption, and they kind of started the ball rolling to get the state to take over their own exemption. I guess be careful what you wish for.
Well, the article that I read, the Assessors Association came out in favor of doing it themselves.
They have since changed their mind, but they did initially get that ball rolling for the state to take over its own exemption.
New York has always been notoriously slow in making payments to anyone, especially municipalities.
Well, and when they have three different...
Wait for years, right, Randy? Unless you owe that money down, yeah.
Well, and they really have three different programs going on at the same time. You and I currently carry a STAR exemption, so, we remain and we get the discount right on our school tax bill. Anybody that's new has to register, plus it's the last year of the tax freeze credit check, the first year of the property tax relief credit check. It's a lot to get a hold of. When you look at the chart, the first three charts are for the basic STAR exemption for those years, and the last chart is if you have an enhanced STAR exemption, the percentages are different.
Any questions on that?
How do they know your income?
Because the State Office of Real Property is a division of the Department of Tax and Finance.
Big Brother's watching. They know everything. They merged them.
2000...
papers, Mr. Beagle?
Yeah, I was going to say 2012. Yeah. When they were merged together, it's when that started. Yep.
Okay, anything further? Charlie?
I just wanted to note that we did have over 3 million hits on our ImageMate website too. That's the public and the subscription site, so that's certainly well used too. And I just wanted to let everybody know that the New York State Assessors Association sent out an email to all assessors to let them know that the New York State Office of the State Comptroller is going to start auditing assessor's office for exemption purposes. They're looking for original applications, and that's sometimes difficult in an assessor's office, especially if you're new to that office, churches in particular. Do you have their original application where they applied? So that is coming our way.
Well, we're on exemptions. This came up at my town board meeting Thursday, this past solar exemptions. And it was very confusing information. So a town has to opt out, or otherwise they get the exemption, is that?
Right. They're going to automatically get the exemption off their property tax unless you opted out of that exemption.
Is that time frame gone by, or is it prior to March 1st?
Well, right, you can opt out, but anybody who has already applied will be grandfathered in. But it's not too late to opt out, but if you want to opt out for this year, you have to do it before March 1st.
Can you send me some information?
I can. Yep.
Everyone?
Everyone? Yes. Yep, I can. And the last thing I had was our office wanted to extend our condolences to the town of Newcomb on the loss of their assessor, John Thornton. John Thornton was an assessor for 30 years, and he'll certainly be greatly missed.
Moved by Mr. Miga. Unanimous second. Anything further for Charlie? Thank you.
Thank you.
Charlie, do you have something for Charlie?
Yeah, legislative, in the conference room.
No, Charlie. I call him Charlie. His name is Charlie, too.
I'm with it.
I think we're going to have it here because we take minutes.
Excuse me?
Can we have it in this room? Can we have it?
It's going to be in the conference room.
Okay.
It's her birthday, she can have it whenever she wants.
Because we do take minutes, so I didn't realize that.
Did you have a resolution you wanted to move? Okay, thank you.
Okay, anything further to come before this committee? Not, we stand adjourned.